This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Häxan, a silent Swedish docudrama from 1922, directed by Benjamin Christensen. It's split into 7 parts, apparently, but there are really only 3 major ideas going on. First, we get a brief history of witchcraft as seen in archival material, historical records, and even some reenactments of these stories, all of which is cut in here and there between some other narrative scenes that present a fictionalized middle-aged town supposedly besieged by witches, and how the manic frenzy and hypocritical inconsistencies of witch hunts can lead to entire towns being destroyed by fear and suspicion. Finally, it returns to documentary, speaking more directly with the audience by comparing this past with the modern era, and how what was once seen as evidence of witchcraft may have been what came to be called hysteria. It's a dense film, but not at all complicated, especially when it gets to the narrative section and it becomes more like a study of human psychology and fear, and especially in an era where religious and superstitious belief was not only widespread but authoritative. Of course, being fictionalized, it's debatable how much of it is accurate to real-life events, but it's pretty clear that's not the director's greater point or intention within the film. It's very much driven towards 2 major goals: presenting the history of witchcraft and the legends that have persisted over centuries, and finding a modern explanation for these ideas and behaviors. There is quite an amount of sensationalization, primarily in reenactments of those old stories and grotesque visualizations of demonic visitations, but it's all here to serve a greater purpose by bringing these ideas into reality. They may be exaggerated more often than not, but it does almost literally illustrate the horrors that might have been in a person's head at the time, showing not only how powerful a person's imagination can be, but also the influence that it could have had on their waking decisions. In turn, those decisions have a snowballing effect based on preconceived notions or personal grudges that eventually results in the complete destruction of families and communities. It's tragic, but the film does at least share that society has moved past these notions with an experimental approach of sorts that break the fourth wall to bring the lessons directly to the audience. It isn't exactly exploring anything too deeply in these scenes, but it's still rather innovative for a film from this era. Speaking of which, being a silent film, it does still adhere to production limitations and filmmaking conventions of the time. In the docudrama scenes of the witch hunts, the look of a medieval countryside is rather well replicated, or at least not in any way that outright feels unrealistic. Artistic design overall is pretty good, especially in the fantasy horror shots, which are definitely made to leave an impact on viewers. After that, though, the other technical elements remain pretty basic, from flat and static shot work and camera angles to a generally slow pacing across the rest of the film, even during more frantic or eventful scenes. But again, the film's greater goal isn't to be a technical marvel. Instead, it becomes more of an artistic marvel, not only in its visuals and imagination, but in its concepts and structure, perhaps being the first of its kind as a documentary made to both present the world as it was, as well as how to apply those lessons to the future. Kind of like a History Channel documentary, but better. Häxan, Benjamin Christensen, 1922. 4.5 stars. I'd definitely say to give it a watch. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Actually, I don't know if I want to associate this movie with the History Channel. I usually don't try to make jokes like that. Well, maybe I do, but I also don't really want to think about the History Channel more than I need to do these days, you know?